Hello everyone. Today's video is a little bit of a hodgepodge video, just a few random thoughts that I want to share about a few different health topics. As per usual, nothing I'm saying should be construed as medical advice. This is for informational purposes only. If you need medical advice, please talk to your healthcare provider to get that advice. And if you don't mind taking a quick moment at some point to please like, share, subscribe, and or post a quick comment on the video, I'd really appreciate it. So thanks in advance for taking a second to do that. Also, just my own inborn self-consciousness here, just casual because I'm working from home, sick family member in the hospital, not going in the office right now, so hence not wearing my regular shirt and tie. So please excuse the casualness. Yeah, so there's just a few things that I've kind of been thinking about in practice lately, and I just felt like I wanted to just do like a little random tidbits video. So not a Q&A video, but random tidbits. So one of the things that just recently came across my desktop, or my email account inbox rather, it's been a long week, here we go, across my inbox, is one of the supplement companies that we use, a really great company in my opinion called Signature Supplements. I have no financial affiliation with them. I just think they make a lot of really good products. They make our mitochondrial support formula and a few other products that we use regularly. The owner just recently sent out an email saying that they now have Akkermansia eosinophilia in their dispensary, which I was really surprised to hear, because Akkermansia has kind of been, over the last few years, hearing about it, it's almost like this like holy grail of probiotics, where it's like, oh, we want more Akkermansia, but it's really, really hard to culture. It's hard to keep it preserved. And so they haven't been able to put it in a supplement form. So I was really surprised when she sent this out saying that we have Akkermansia. And so I looked into it and, went on a little Pubmed journey last night. Well, in the ICU with my family member, because, middle of the night, and helping them out. And anyways, nurses were busy with my family members, so figured I'd go down a little PubMed rabbit hole, and yeah, it's really fascinating. I mean, most of the studies are seem to be more correlative in nature. They are looking at the levels of Akkermansia in the intestinal microbiome of different subjects, and basically finding that the folks with higher levels of Akkermansia, they seem to have lower rates of obesity, better blood sugar regulation, better cardiovascular health. There's even aspects of like help with oncology treatments, like tolerating chemotherapy better. It's pretty cool stuff. And then also some studies showing that there's less intestinal permeability, so good for gut healing as well. But most of the studies out there that I could find, at least, were correlative in nature. Now, I was able to find one clinical trial where they were supplementing folks with an Akkermansia supplement, and it did show that there were some appreciable improvements with blood sugar regulation, some inflammatory parameters. It was not a statistically significant decrease. It was almost statistically significant in body weight. And I think folks were supplementing with, I think it was around 10 billion units per day for, I think it was like 3 months or something like that. It was the middle of the night, so I don't have it all committed to memory. So in terms of actually like interventional studies, I don't believe there's been a whole lot. Now I'm in talks, if you will, with the Signature Supplements. I'm asking them to send me like a little research summary, so try to save me a little bit of work and kind of see what information's out there. But based on what I could find, like, I think it's still in early days around like actual clinical trials, at least what's on PubMed anyways. Maybe there's stuff published elsewhere, I don't know. But I think it's an exciting probiotic to now have at our disposal. Now I looked into, it's like, well, why was it that everyone's saying it's really hard to culture and process and all that, and yet here's this available product? So my understanding is that they've processed it in like a very careful way. I believe, oh my gosh, now I'm rusty on the details, but they've somehow, I think, added like certain fiber coating to it, and then I think they've surrounded it in a phospholipid, I believe. But if memory serves, it's not actually a living probiotic. What's kind of weird with probiotics is that they've done studies showing that whether the probiotic, in certain cases, whether the probiotic is alive or dead, it still confers health benefits, which is like, oh, aren't they supposed to be colonizing our intestines? But it turns out that there are certain cell signaling properties that confer the benefits of a probiotic as well, even when they're not alive anymore. So it's not just about colonizing the intestines with the probiotics, it's about some of their special properties of their body parts, essentially, which at first blush is kind of, well, that's kind of weird and morbid. But then on the flip side, it's like, well, we eat, we take dead plant extracts, like, leaves and roots and this and that. They have lots of medicinal properties. So why not probiotics? Why not Akkermansia? So looking at the totality of evidence, all these correlative studies, doesn't seem to be a lot of interventional studies so far. I'm planning to try this myself. I'm planning to talk to some patients about it, see if maybe they want to try it. I think it would be very safe to work with. I can't imagine any negative side effects except for folks that might react to the prebiotic that's in there, or the like the fiber, I should say, that's in there. Don't really need a prebiotic when it's not a living critter in there. Yeah, so I'll post another video at some point with my or when the dust is settled from the Akkermansia experiment, so to speak. But I'm looking forward to trying it, and just wanted to let folks know that this product exists now. And for the longest time in my mind, it was kind of like this holy grail of like, we're never going to have an Akkermansia supplement, but now we do. I was not planning to talk about that for as long as I did, but I'm being loquacious as per usual. But I'll try to squeeze in at least one more topic here. So one of the other things I wanted to share is that over the last just about a year and a half or so, we've been doing lots and lots and lots of brain mapping, quantitative EEGs or electroencephalograms with patients. And one of the observations that I've been making time and time again is, we have patients where they have done everything. They've done all the detox, all the gut protocols, all the treatment for Lyme and mold, co-infections, heavy metals, like everything under the sun. And they are improved in the vast majority of cases, but not all the way better. Now, a lot of patients get all the way better and we're good to go. But I'm talking about patients where they're not all the way better. Maybe they're, 50% plus improved, somewhere like 50 to 80% improved, let's say. And then we do a brain map and we find that there's evidence that their nervous systems seem to be on high alert. They seem to be in this like revved up, like more sympathetic dominant mode. And sometimes that is very much on a conscious level, and sometimes it seems to be more on a subconscious level. So subtext is that a person doesn't need to say like, yes, I have anxiety and insomnia and I'm, stressed about this, that, and the other thing all the time for this to apply to them. It could be like, no, I'm pretty cool under pressure, but when we do some like exploratory questioning, it's like, okay, we can see how there might be some subconscious stress. And what's been interesting is that when I look at the brain map, I sometimes will talk to a patient about their results and say like, so this is what your brain map's saying, and like, I know you pretty well, and like you don't really strike me as being someone who's like particularly stressed or anxious, but like, they'll ask again some of these screening questions to see maybe there's something on more of a subconscious level. And I'm so far like batting 1,000 in terms of folks being like, yeah, that actually does apply to me. Yes, I have this calm demeanor. I'm not, I wouldn't identify as being anxious, but like, yes, I do feel I ruminate about this, or I worry about that, or, this or that thing bothers me when it happens. So, I'm starting to, have this little saying in my mind that like, that there are no secrets from a brain map. The brain map seems to be quite good, I think very good in my experience so far, at kind of picking up when there's a nervous system imbalance going on. So why am I bringing this up? Well, I know a lot of folks that follow me on social media, a lot of my patients, they have these chronic symptoms, and sometimes it's kind of like, like I just haven't found the right treatment for Lyme, I haven't found the right treatment for mold, I haven't found the right detox thing, I haven't found the right new nutrient or something like that, or new probiotic like Akkermansia that's going to fix all the problems. And sometimes that is probably the case, but as I'm seeing with a growing number of patients, the area that folks seem to be getting hung up on is on the nervous system regulation side of things. On my Overcoming Chronic Illness podcast, I would say that the majority of guests that I've interviewed have all said nervous system regulation support is incredibly important for their patients, and I couldn't agree more. And what's been really helpful is actually having this tool where we have these objective reports showing that, yes, we can actually look at their nervous system regulation and say like, oh yes, this actually does apply to you. It's not just this theoretical construct. They're like, oh, maybe you have amygdala dysfunction, but there's no test for that. Well, there's not a specific test for that, but the brain map gives us a lot of insight into how dysregulated the nervous system seems to be in certain ways. So I just wanted to mention that because I think it's an important thing to have on the radar. And yeah, I think I'll leave it there for now. So I hope this information was useful. If anybody has any questions or comments on these topics or anything else, post in the comment section below, and I will do my best to answer as soon as I can.